Hello, and welcome again to another Push podcast. This week we will be talking about self-love and the importance of loving ourselves. So once again, this is Jamie. We have Tisha. Hey, Tisha.
Hey.
And we have Carolyn. Hey, girl.
Hi.
So we're just going to be talking about self-love. And before the podcast, we were trying to talk amongst ourselves about self-love and what that means.
Right.
And basically self-love is loving ourselves. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we say we love ourselves, but do we really? Mm-hmm. Because we can tell by the way, we probably can't tell, but other people can tell by the way we treat ourselves, what we allow, how we allow people to treat us, how we take care of ourselves, from the way what we do to our hair, how we dress, a lot of different things. And of course, we can't really love anyone else until we truly love ourselves. Mm-hmm. Okay,
that's a good point.
Okay, so just a little bit of background on me and my experience with self-love. Mm-hmm. When I was younger, of course, I had self-esteem issues. Mm-hmm. And I've shared this before. My brothers and my sisters, they used to always talk about me jokingly, but because it was so many of them against me, I started doubting myself. I started questioning how I look. If they talk about my glasses, because my glasses were too thick or my lens was too thick, it made me insecure, about wearing glasses, my hair, a lot of different things. And it wasn't until, and then I had to go through school dealing with certain things, people talking about me. And so that just made me hard on myself and question who I am, why I have to dress like this. And, I allowed certain things because I felt like it wasn't easy for me. I didn't feel like it was easy for me to get friends, get a boyfriend. So I started allowing things, or people to do things, or certain people in my life who I could tell they didn't love me, but it was more so because I didn't love myself. So I accepted whatever I could get because I felt like I couldn't get better than that.
Right. So you didn't want to rock the boat because you didn't want them to fall off. Why did I say it like that? Say, for example, like if I'm saying something to somebody, I don't want to push no buttons. I don't want to
push them to the edge to leave or to...
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
So
I treaded lightly and accepted whatever. Right. Exactly.
In turn, which turns you into a chameleon because you become what you feel that individual wants you to be.
Exactly.
And you start losing your self-identity.
Awesome. That is exactly right. Yep. So, but yeah, in order, I think, of course, I like to say I'm no expert on anything, but with my mentoring program, that's one thing that we focus on is self-love. And, to try to, I try to get the girls to tune everybody and everything out. Look at yourself. And with whatever you see that you don't like, you change it because that's what you want to do, not because that's what somebody else made you feel like you have to do. Truly love yourself. A lot of times we see stuff on TV and we think that's the image that we're supposed to look like that. And so we wear our hair like everybody else. We wear the same clothes everybody else. But at the end of the day, are you fulfilled? Like, is that really is that really you?
Right. Especially in this day and age, because we didn't have social media like the way these girls have it now. So you compare yourself to
others and what you see. Exactly.
And the whole thing of injections to do this and that's all about self-love. Lip injections, butt injections. If you want to do that just because, if you whatever you want to do to your body, if it floats your boat, then do it. But I don't believe that that's what's happening today. Right. I think it's, I'm too small. I have to have a butt because this guy won't like me. And it's like, let me tell you something. That man gonna like you, flaws and all.
The man for you.
The man for you gonna like you, flaws and all. And so you need to love yourself as you are and go with the flow. And I'm preaching to myself because I find flaws in myself. And
so, I think we each do.
Well, yeah. But I sometimes feel like, why would a man like me? Like, I feel like I'm just ugly sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, like
I can relate.
Yeah, I'd be like, why would a man like me? Like, I never thought I was the prettiest. I never thought I was pretty, you know. But if I get dressed up, then I'd be like, oh, okay. But then it's like it go away in like 5 seconds. Like, I never thought I was like pretty at all. So maybe that goes back to, I don't know, self-love to a certain extent, or maybe like you said back in the day, getting joked about. Maybe that's still somewhere hidden. Somewhere deep down, like I say, just because somebody talk about you and hostile in you, that don't give you no. I never felt suicidal or anything like that. What these kids go through, but I think words do have power.
They do.
And I think
it's still seeds that are planted.
Yeah, it's still seeds that are planted.
But one thing is, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't. I know it does, but it shouldn't matter who says what about you. If you truly love yourself, that's just gonna bounce off of you. That's gonna bounce off of you. I think you're beautiful, but you know, I've been there, and I'm sure you know many of us have. I've been there to where you know I would, even to this day, because like you, I only think I'm really attractive if I get dressed up, because I see myself every day. I see my flaws. I just be like, oh, you know. But I mean, I'm not saying that to say that. You know, I don't love myself or I'm not confident. Right. I just feel like I'm basic.
Right.
Unless I get dressed up.
But that's a good word. Like, I'm mediocre. Like, ain't nothing to stand up and give an ovation for. It's just like, it ain't nothing to just really just get tooted up for. It's like, okay, you just there. And you can make it through.
And people can sense how you feel about yourself.
They can pick up the confidence and they can tell. But some people do try to tear at that, even though you have the confidence, depending on how it is that they feel, they will try to tear
about
down.
themselves.
Yes.
Right.
Which goes back to, as long as you have the self-love, as long as you have the self-confidence, and that stems from home. Like, that stems from your upbringing.
Absolutely.
And it comes from the parents, and then it comes from those that are around you, that are in your immediate circle. It's like, once you're loved at home, you won't be, that's what we were talking about yesterday, you won't be forced to have to gravitate to the first thing outside of home.
Absolutely.
Right, which is why I try to tell girls all the time.
You're beautiful.
You're beautiful. Hey,
Stay
pretty.
holy.
Stay holy. I always try to speak those words into them because you don't. I just feel like women and girls need to hear that.
We do,
especially young girls. They need to hear that, and that's why it's so important for a father to be in a little girl's life.
It really is.
It is so important because when you get treated like that with your daddy, then you'll have better standards, and I think you won't be looking for that father. Because a lot of these girls look for father figures.
They are exactly in those
the
guys
man
that they do. You're exactly right, and I say that with Tyra all the time, and I've had to apologize to her because I would tell her, I'm sorry that your daddy wasn't there. I can show you how to be independent. I can show you how to love yourself or be an example of that, but I can't show you how to be loved by a man. That was your daddy's responsibility, and I can see it because like her daddy was in and out. You know, he was not even part-time. He was in and out. So the dude that she's currently with, she allows break up, stay away, get back together. She allows that. You know, and you know, her daddy, I'm not sure what words he used with her. Okay, but I know she's told me that, you know, he talks to her crazy. The boy cusses her out. She accepts it. So, and I think if those standards were set when she was very, very, very young, she was put up
right,
because that was my thing. I knew my daddy loved me. He passed away at an early age. When I was, you know, when I was 11, and I didn't have that father figure once he passed away. And so, and I always say, if my daddy was around, I probably wouldn't have so many kids. You know, because I was looking for that. I was looking for that in a man.
Yeah.
So.
That's true. My daddy was around. My daddy had his issues, but he was a father to me. Because there's a difference between saying, "Oh, that's that." I know there's different between like baby daddy than actual father.
Oh yeah.
Sperm donor and actual father. So I never took a lot of mess on guys, but I always tried to do what was the in crowd. For example, okay, everybody else saying, this is just an example. If everybody else saying, we doing a doggy style and we love that style, and I'm not giving this guy doggy style, then I feel like, okay, I need to give this guy doggy style because this is what everybody else is doing, and he's gonna go and find it somewhere else, which still stems back to self-love, because it's like, well, these are my boundaries. First off, I shouldn't even be having sex, but I'm just in the example, these are my boundaries. I'm a traditional girl. We're not gonna be doing all that extra. We're not gonna be doing on top of the roof. I'm not gonna be doing 69 with you and all this other stuff. And you gonna love me for who I am. If that's not what you want, then you move along, right? Because self-love goes back to wanting to compete with what every girl's out there doing, because
and what you think you're gonna lose out on
if you don't do it, right?
Which goes back to the foundation, because if the foundation is built right, yeah, we may struggle and stumble, you know, a little bit here and there, but when we get to that point to be like, oh, so I am gonna do a doggy style, once I get ready to get in that position, the conviction of whatever I feel is gonna come, and I'm gonna be like, you know what, never mind, just stop. And so you 9 times out of 10 wouldn't go all the way, opposed to somebody who didn't get that. As far as somebody whose foundation wasn't laid in the beginning and it wasn't continuously built up on, because you got to keep building up on it. Because I think that I know for me, it's easy for me I'll tell you something in the beginning, and that's once something and hit the fan. So it's like, I'll tell you something in the beginning, and then I'll be going just like, I'm going hard, and it's like, okay, I'm just going straight. And then as time goes on, because world and life happens, I tend to lax on what it was I was doing. And so then it's like it says, when they come back 7 times harder. So then it's like, okay, what the heck? Like, I thought and it's like, okay, but you weren't persistent. Like, you have to be persistent with the child until the child is out of the house and gone.
It literally starts from the umbilical cord.
It does.
For the child, for the mother portion. Then when the baby comes out,
that you have the baby in while you're pregnant.
Exactly.
It does. It starts from the
exactly. And a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of men don't realize that, nor do they believe it.
They don't. And that's because they don't carry.
They don't know.
The child, and it's like, because it's a life.
But it's something, because like you said, that's where it starts. And if you're pregnant by a guy and you're dealing with all these emotional ups and downs with him, that affects that baby. Yeah. But I'm saying it's good for that father to know that and understand that, because I mean, he gonna be who he is, but would he think twice about it, being that that's my child that you're carrying?
Because what I do is gonna affect my child. So in turn, you would think twice. And be like, okay, well, is it gonna kill me to just be faithful and just be there for the woman that's carrying my child until the child is born? And then I can, because you have to think your action is going to cause a reaction to
your child,
the mother, and in turn, the child.
It affects the child. Right. And that's when, at the end of the day, we are responsible, and I say we're responsible because we can't control what he does and how he does. If we are educated and we know that affects the baby, then we need to put our foot down and be like,
you have to just be gone.
Exactly.
It's like, it's no in and out and none of that stuff.
You have to love yourself and your baby enough to know that this is not right.
My baby can't be in a stressful environment. Exactly. While I'm pooping, hollering, cussing, breaking windows out. Because back in the day, I remember my friends being pregnant and we going to go fight the dude and acting out. And when you think about that, a child to be connected to your umbilical cord while we out here, first off, we up here listening to No Limit and Cash Money, and every other word on that is derogatory to a woman. So that's number one. Then we get out the car, and now we in the club, and then we get out the club, now we gonna fight the ex-boyfriend. I mean, it's just like, and then you wonder why kids come out so just messed up.
Right.
But yeah. So no, it's a blank right there.
So anyway, yeah. So it's important, to get with somebody, talk to somebody, and try to just figure it out, because loving yourself, if you don't have a good example of it, it's not gonna be easy to do. Because again, we all think, at some point we thought that we really loved ourselves, but when we look back at it, we see, dang, I can't believe I went through that, or I dealt with that, or I did that.
Right.
Again,
why would I allow myself to go through that?
Right. And if you don't love yourself, us as parents, mothers, if you don't love yourself, how can you honestly say that you love that child if you love somebody else? Because you have to first learn how to love yourself.
That's good.
So that you can give that unconditional
you have nothing
love.
to give
Right.
if you don't. If that's so
good.
true.
That's good.
That's rich.
Yes.
Which is why. How do I say this? Which is why parents are failing. Because they don't even know how to love themselves, and then until they can't love their child, and the child know what love is, and they go looking for love on social media, Facebook with a guy, DMing a guy. I mean, and please believe the L word, love, means nothing to a guy.
Nothing at
They
all.
can say that to you all day long. That does not mean he love you, and I think they looking for anything that. I remember the first guy to tell me he loved me. I mean, I literally felt a sensation of my body go from head to toe, because it was like he loved me, and it was just, but that dude did not love me. That dude did not love me. The boy didn't give a D-A-M-N about me, but it was just the point of hearing that, and I was just like, oh, you know, because like I said, my daddy still had his issues, and so to hear a guy say that to you is just like, oh my God.
You know, we use the term loosely.
Yeah.
We use it way
And that's a
too
very
much.
powerful word.
Right.
Especially
And
for a woman.
I got
Yes.
to the point to where if it was a new relationship, somebody told me you love me, why?
I would ask
Why
that.
do you love me?
I would ask that too.
You
I'd
know,
be like, no,
how
you
do
don't.
you love me?
Because
you can't
tell me that you love me.
Right.
So,
You can't tell me anything. I want to understand it and I want to believe it. You know, so why do you love me?
That's good. Yep, that's good.
And
If you can't answer that, you don't love me.
I believe that. And it's not, you know, you can't give me just because I do. No.
Just because you are who you are.
No.
I mean, look at you. What?
Yeah.
A lot we don't know what love is.
We don't.
And I'm sorry, for a long time I didn't either. I used the word loosely myself. But the only definition of love that I know is in the Bible. And I know I don't love like that, but I know that that my goal is to love like that.
Right.
Okay. And when I look at a person's actions, you don't even have to tell me you love me, but if you do, that's what I compare it with.
Yeah.
You know, love
Yes,
is kind,
right.
love is patient. You know, I compare it to that.
Right.
And
Are
that
you doing
determines-
those things?
Exactly.
Right.
And
Right.
that determines to me. And it's just certain things that I just won't deal with. Like, you can't call me out of my name. You can't curse me. You can't, it's a lot of things that you can't do.
Because you love me, right?
Right, because if you did, you
Right.
wouldn't do that.
Right.
Now I understand you might get angry, you know, we might be mad at one another, but even in that, there's still a way to love. And I don't care how mad I get at somebody, I'm not going to cuss them out.
Right.
It's just certain things I won't do.
Right.
And I'm not going to allow it, and I'm not going
And I had to learn that.
Especially if you don't do it. It's like, if I don't do it, you definitely are not going to do that to me.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I had to learn that. Because
I'm
I
not
would cuss
going
you
to-
out in a jiffy. I used to cuss like a... To me, I want to hurt you. But
So
that's
you
not
do
what...
with your words.
But that's not. First off, okay, you love everybody with the love of Christ.
Yeah.
Right? So even with that, I mean, there's a certain line, like I can be like, I mean, you love your children. You may love all children that you have in your group, but then you have a deeper love for your kids, right? But at the end of the day, it's still the love of Christ, which is, I mean, I know it's hard to say we love everybody, but I love through faith, or I love you with the love of Christ, or however you want to say it. But there's still certain things you shouldn't do to anybody,
Exactly.
because nobody, because if that's the case, you're not living up to the words that we read. And I had to learn that too, to keep people's names, their names. Keep people's names, their names. If their name is curling, keep them curling.
Exactly.
Don't go and try to change their names, try to make them feel pain. And if somebody's doing that to you, then you need to cut them off.
Exactly. Exactly. Because like you said, words are powerful, you know, and I did it once upon a time, but you know, girls, friends calling each other bees, I don't do that.
Yeah.
Nor do I accept it, because at the end of the day, words are powerful, and sometimes even if you didn't act like that, you're gonna start acting like that.
Because
Exactly.
now you're speaking that title on me.
Exactly.
That's not
And
me.
I'm accepting
Right.
it.
If
Exactly.
anything, you should say,
'Cause you answer
look
to
here,
it.
woman of God. And it's like, so eventually,
Speak that
if you
into
keep
me.
saying,
Exactly.
look here, woman of God, I'm going to become that woman of God.
That's true. That's true, because that was how we communicated
That
back in the
was
day.
how I did.
So no, you didn't. But me and my old crew, we would communicate like that, and that's every day, 24/7. So, I mean, it would be, what's up? What you doing, B? B, stop lying. B, guess what? B, no, you didn't. B, you dressed. It's like, I mean, everything was to be, or it could be sometimes, ho. Ho, you ready? Ho, quit lying. Ho, guess what? Ho, I mean, that was 24/7, and I had to go through and break those word curses off my life because, first off, like you said, if you just imagine hearing that word every single day, all the time, and you're answering to it.
Yep.
So I just accepted that word and received it. So it's like, hey, what you doing, B? Hey, girl, nothing. Okay, you just accepted that, and now it's the ministering to my spirit. And now I'm the biggest bitch on the planet, or like you said, 304 or whatever. For those who know what 304 is, it's ho in the 90s. How we would text somebody.
Exactly.
304 it. But yeah. And then also, just to shift gears, it's also, like you said, what we do with our bodies. Sometimes now I feel so convicted, like with the stuff that I used to wear. I feel
especially
convicted.
when you see it today.
And when I see it today, and I want to tell a little girl, like, you need to put some clothes on. But I did the same exact thing. So you got to go back and say, why are you putting that on?
Even the music that they listen to, it's like...
We was in the club listening to Luke. Luke was telling us, B, get dropped down on the floor and hydraulic. And you would hydraulic. You would do, and then the dude behind you just like literally degrading you.
Yes.
Just
literally. It's like head is going just like, okay, my hair messed up now.
Yeah, you could sometimes you would fall, get back up.
Yeah.
It's too hard. Yeah. It's crazy. But yeah, women should cover up. Now I'm not saying we're
we know what you're saying.
Yeah.
You need to leave some things to the imagination. Because our body is a temple.
Exactly. Right.
And you want people to look at you. If you want the respect, you got to carry yourself accordingly.
Exactly.
Right. Because a lot of times when I would go into the club with whatever I had on, drunk, dancing wild, and if a guy hit my butt, I want to get mad. Well, why? Because you put you're out there right there, so you cannot get mad.
It's okay.
And so it's like, I understand with the Me Too movement, all this stuff going on, don't touch somebody, respect me, but I'm sorry, where I'm from, in Waco, in the hood, you in the club, you want to act like a thought, I'm going to treat you like a thought. That's point, period, in the blank. It's like, if you want, I mean, something wrong with going to the club, you want to go to the club, I mean, it's for that age group.
Right.
But my thing is, dress like a lady.
Right, because you can be, and we all know, you can be sexy and not show everything.
Exactly.
Sexy is not
having everything out.
Exactly.
Right.
It's not.
No.
You can be sexy and a nice.
I really believe it's for attention.
It is for attention.
That's exactly what it is.
And the more attention you get, the more you're feeding that. And so you continue to do it because it's like, okay, this is where I get my pull from. And it's like, and then it goes back to self-love. Is that the type of pull that you want? Is that the kind of man that you want?
So if he's doing this to you
he's
in the
do
club, what makes you
else.
think he's not doing it to somebody else? Exactly. Or not just in the club, that could be it could be any
it can be a gas station, or it's like, I was just telling Tisha the other day when I was waiting on Kavon having his little interview. God saw two girls that were half naked walking in the Highlands with swimsuits on, and I was like, okay, there's no pool in the Highlands nowhere. And I'm like, and they were, I was like, oh my gosh.
They wanted attention.
I would think that those are the ones who don't love themselves and who are insecure. Have low self-esteem. Self-esteem because they're looking for something.
And they didn't have a cute shape.
They
didn't.
They didn't.
And so it could have been that. And the thing about it is they weren't even African American. I would have at least expected that. Like I would think, because that's what you're seeing a lot more of is our race that's really just having themselves just out there, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was, they were Caucasian. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, is this? And then they walked by twice, so I knew I wasn't tripping. I was like, okay, so I did just see what I saw. It was real.
Yeah, they're looking for something. And it could be that, if they weren't attractive, they think if I show skin, because sex sells, sex gets, it pulls attention. So if I dress like this, maybe I'll get some attention. And I've dealt with that with my daughter as well. Thank you. I've dealt with that with my daughter as well. You know, looking for attention in all the wrong places. Doing, you know, certain things you do, certain things you wear, the way you talk. You know, you're getting the type, whatever you're giving out, that's what you're gonna get back.
Right. No ifs, ands, and buts about it.
At all. And then you wonder why you crying every other day with this dude because you allow this. And she gets mad at me because I won't deal with him. He's disrespected me twice. The first time he apologized, I let it go. He did it again.
Let me tell you
he
something.
can't do me like he do you.
Let me tell you something. If once a person show you who they are,
That's
believe them. And that's the one thing women we don't want to do.
Until
we don't want to do
person
that.
has been delivered and found the love for Christ, they are not going to love
And that's
you.
why it's so important to have a man that loves Christ. Because once he loves Christ and truly has that relationship with him, he will treat you accordingly. Not saying that a guy can't treat you good if he's struggling or having, but I'm just saying because that's the only love that's the only true love, like you said, according to the word. And that word has to be in you for you to really, you know, truly show that love accordingly. A lot of times men have conditional love. They say they don't, but they have conditional love. Women, we a little different, and maybe because of the nutrient spirit and that's how God created the Adam and Eve. Our love tends to grow strong. If I love you, I love you hard, which is why I try not to get wrapped up like that. But guys are very conditional. They're conditional lovers, and they use women for convenience. And so they tell them what they want to hear for the convenience of it. So it's like, if you tell me that God love you, I need to know what he's doing for you. Why you say, like you said, why? And why are you telling me he loves you? So Asia, for example, he loves me. Okay, why did you say that? What is he doing? What is he doing? Not even with you. What is he doing with the Lord? Because that's how you're going to know the Lord and how they treat their mama. To me, that's how you're going to know, or if they have daughters. I think that you would know that, which is why I feel like some people, baby daddies, ain't going to never be right. I ain't saying no names. They ain't going to never treat their woman right. You know why? They ain't treating their own daughter right.
Yeah.
How are you going to expect to treat your wife right who came in after your daughter is your first love to begin with? Especially if you're single. So, and then you say she's gonna treat you right. There's no way. There is no way.
I knew a guy, and this guy hit his mama. This guy hit his mama.
Shut up.
Hit her in the mouth, gave her some stitches.
Oh.
And the women that he dealt with, he hit them as well. And that's why, and I knew this guy I knew him very well.
Wow.
And wasn't nobody I dealt with, but I knew him very well. And so I knew the pattern. I knew what happened to the mama. And I knew what happened to the girls. And, you know, me and the girls would be out, we would be cool. And I wouldn't tell them, don't deal with him, because you can't tell nobody that. You got to let them want it for themselves. But I would say, watch the pattern. Look at the pattern.
Wow.
Just about every female he dealt with, he put his hands on it.
That's sad.
And that's one thing.
You asked the woman, what is it that, so he's changed now, he's came to you and he's apologized, right? Okay, so what is it that he's doing different? He done found Christ? Oh, now
because I do believe you can get delivered.
You can get delivered, which is why I said, did you find Christ? Because if he put his hands on you once, and if he has not dealt with that issue, because it's an issue within him, and so if that issue hasn't been dealt with and purged out, he's gonna do it again. And it's like,
and don't tell me he went to jail and got out, because that ain't good.
That ain't no, because he went to jail several times and got out doing the same thing.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, of course, what he did was wrong. But the women, if they truly loved themselves, they would not allow it. They would not.
They wouldn't even hop in that relationship to begin with.
Well, I mean, I can get it if you hop in not knowing history, but hopping in and then once you start seeing some pattern,
because warning comes before destruction.
Or even if something comes up and you found out about what he did to an ex. I mean, I'm a firm believer that people change, and you may not always know what caused the change. However, just because you tell me you hit your ex, I'm not gonna not deal with you, but I'm not gonna hold you accountable for what you did to her, only what you do to me. So the first time you hit me is gonna be the last time.
Yeah.
Because I'm not putting up with it.
Right. Yeah.
So we have to have standards. We have to have those boundaries, and we have to stick with them.
That's it.
You know, but a lot of women that I've seen in situations like this, I can look at them based on their actions and their patterns and see that, you know, it may be some self-esteem stuff going on there. But but anyway, it's just up to them to realize it, recognize it for what it is, and then just, you know, be strong enough and courageous enough.
And
to
It
just,
is the strength,
Right.
and then it's your environment, it's your support group, and you have to be open to receive. What is the word that I'm trying to
Rebuke.
Yeah.
To
So
a
it's
certain
kind of like, yeah. So it's like, okay, you have the three of us. I'm in a abusive relationship, but then again, that could go to, since I'm getting abused, I'm already hardened, so I'm gonna be too hard to receive something from either of you two. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, how can you be open when you already are hardened and guarded?
But I think if you like you know Tisha very well, mm-hmm. and I don't know, but I would assume that if you were in a situation, I don't think you would be, but let's just say you were in that situation and you just hadn't left, and Tisha came to you and said, Carolyn, you need to get out of that. Mm-hmm. I don't know, just because of your history, I don't think that you would be hardened to what she's saying, to receive what she's saying. You know, and I'm saying that to say, I could be right or wrong, I don't know. But I'm saying that to say, if you have somebody that you can trust, no matter how hard your heart is, mm-hmm. if you have somebody that you can trust and you know you can trust, I think you can better receive them. You would probably better receive her than me because of your bond. And I'm saying that to say, if a girl is in a situation, mm-hmm. and they have somebody that they can really trust. I mean, really trust, not just no chick that they, mm-hmm. you know, somebody mm-hmm. that they can really trust. They can probably hear them better. Mm-hmm. They might not always act on it immediately, but
right.
It's
so
like
it's the seed that's planted.
Exactly, they're planting that seed, mm-hmm. and when she's dealing with that situation, she may hear that voice. Mm-hmm. Again, she may not act on it immediately, but I think that eventually she'll be able to say, you know what, I'm not doing that, as opposed to somebody who really don't have nobody they can trust.
That's
and
true.
Then at that point, you know, they don't know who they can trust, so they're not receiving it from, this is my man, I can't trust my man, who else can I trust?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And
that's why
mm-hmm.
I encourage, like, if you just have one person you can trust, just mm-hmm. one person, that's really all you need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think women should be. I think a woman should have somebody they can talk to and not be so secretive.
Exactly.
And be so to themselves, because that's dangerous, especially for women. Exactly. Because we could go on for 20 years under the same circumstances. Mm-hmm. And
suffering and solace.
And we can hold secrets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And sometimes it ain't good for women to be too secretive, because you may be holding on to a secret that you need to
get out.
Mm-hmm. And then in turn, I mean, it's just, for example, if you holding a guy's secret, you told me you left him alone, you haven't left him alone, you hold him for a secret, he's abusive, and ain't nobody seen you go missing. Because this is stuff that happens in real life.
Exactly.
You being too secretive about this dude.
Nobody.
And my pastor always say, your friends, your godly friends, need to meet who you dating. Mm-hmm. You don't need to be keeping who you dating a secret.
You should have a double date.
You should have, because people need to know who this person is. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I can see what you can't see because you have your blinders on.
Exactly.
But that goes back to having somebody that you can trust to tell you that, not just somebody that maybe not want to see you happy or whatever.
That's true too, because misery does love company.
Mm-hmm.
So
have somebody
who
you can trust.
It is you. Because I know that I used to, when I was going through that relationship that I was in with the person I should have been in, so it's the same person. Mm-hmm. But so it is enough for a book. But
in due time,
I had the set people that I would go to and share certain things with. So I would share with Tisha the stuff that I didn't mind telling her anything on, because I wouldn't want her to give me the right advice. I didn't want her to give me the advice that wasn't going to feed my flesh.
Okay.
So I had the other friends even one that I would call my sister in Christ, and she is still my sister in Christ. But I would share things with her because she wasn't too far from doing some of the same stuff. And so I knew that she would be like, I mean, well, no, I understand if you want to go and get that closure and go and say something, opposed to Tisha would have been like, what do you mean? Your closure is your silence. Like, why would you go over there? Because first off, you're not strong enough to just go over there and say, I'm going to leave you alone. If you're leaving them alone, you just leave them alone. You ain't got to go over there and say it.
You didn't want to hear
that. But I didn't want to hear that because I wanted to go over there.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to who I knew would tell me, it's okay to go there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is my sister in Christ. She told me it's okay to go over there. So.
But the thing is, you knew, if you didn't know then, you know now. Like, you know, I mean, when I say that, you you have those that will feed your flesh.
And so I had the different set of friends. So I had this set that I would tell this to. Then I had that one over there that I would tell
certain things to. Wow. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, that goes back to, is that going back to love yourself? Or that's just going back to?
In a sense, I guess, because it's kind of like if you're going to somebody and you're wanting advice, why would you go to somebody that's going to feed your flesh, that's going to give you the wrong direction? Because I knew what I was doing, which is why I went over there and I didn't go over here, because I didn't want to be told the right thing. I wanted to continue to do what it was I was doing, because I wanted that to drag out. And so I wasn't at the point yet to where I loved myself, to where I was strong enough to just leave that alone.
And that's another thing, when we don't love ourselves and we get involved in relationships, at first it starts off as I don't love myself and I'm in this relationship, then it gets into a soul tie to where now you can't even get out.
Exactly.
If you wanted to get out. So now you tied up in there, and it's like a spider web, and you just kind of just tied up in there. And another thing I wanted to that I thought about while we were talking was, I think a lot of times, I know people like the way the media portrays women's empowerment, sexual empowerment. You're taking the power by, if I want to have sex tonight, this is my power, this is my cootie cat, I can do what I want. This my thing is, anytime that you are having a one night stand or you're doing something with some guy to think you're just serving yourself, that's not loving yourself.
It's not.
That's not loving yourself. It's like, don't have no one night stand. I say wait until you get married, but I'm not. I did wait till I get married, but I'm on a different journey now. But I'm just, if I could talk to a young girl, I would tell her that. But if that's not the case, do not have a one night stand. Cause to me, I feel like that that's the new thing to do. I mean, I'm sliding your DM and what's up for the night, and it's like you don't even know him.
And it's sad that that's happening. Like, women are doing it so much more. They're doing it
exactly.
I mean, of course, you still have those men, but women are doing it more. And if you go into it that way, if you let a man know it's that easy for them to get you,
right,
they're not gonna respect you.
Right.
They're gonna use you for that night, for that reason. They're gonna use you for that night. And if they have another moment where they just need something for a night, right? And at the end of the day, you're gonna feel used. Well, eventually, maybe not, because there's a lot of women who just want to get their rocks off.
They'll feel it later,
right?
If they don't feel it now, like you said, they'll feel it later,
right?
But
and then you wonder why I can't get a man, or I can't keep a man,
or why your body's broke down. Because I do feel like when we fornicate against our body, it brings sin. The wages of sin is death. And I don't think it necessarily always means death, but your body wears down. I can see girls that are my age that like they're about 50. And that's because they hug the heck out for whatever. I mean, men running through you like dang on clockwork, that'll hug your body out. But you just said something a while ago, and now I can't think about what I was going to say to that.
To that. And, I'm sure we all have different stories. I have a lady to this day. I have a lady to this day. She, we hung out not long ago, and she told me that she was like, if it was some cute guys in here, I would send one a drink. And I was like, why would you do that? And she was like, just for conversation. But I know how she was years ago, and I know how she is now. And I know, because of stuff she do, she used to be real fine. She used to be, a stripper. She was that fine. But then she's picked up a lot of weight over the years. So the attention that she had back then, she don't get that no more. So now she's going out dealing with married dudes. And she just called me yesterday, and she was like, hey, I left him alone. I said, okay, how do you feel? I miss him. What do you miss? He would, you know, anyway, so just saying that to say, you know, women are making it too easy for men. And because men know it's too easy, it's real easy, they don't
want to put
settle,
the work.
Right, they don't have to put in the work. They don't have to settle
They
down.
don't want to court no more.
No.
They don't have to.
A quick fix and that's all.
I mean, that's why you wait on God to send the man He has for you, because just a regular dude, they don't want to court. They want to come. They want the address to your home. And to me, if I just met you, you shouldn't even know the address to my home. I will meet you wherever we need to meet at.
Don't even ask me. No, right.
They even have now, and I know a girl who I used to work with who paid for sex. They pay for sex now, as far as with the strippers, the personal house calls that these strippers, the guy strippers make, and you can pay him a little extra if you want to have sex. And it's like, seriously? It's not that serious.
And there's a lot of people that'll have sex with you for free.
Exactly.
But of course, we're not encouraging that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like that's just.
I mean, that's just how out of control it's gotten to where women. To me, I feel like the place of a man and woman, they're switching the lines up too much, and it needs to be. There is a place for woman and there is a place for man. I don't care how the world wants to define it. There is a place where a woman is to stay in a certain lane and men to stand. I don't think we should be crossing lanes like that. And buying a man a drink, for example, is crossing a lane.
Exactly. And because I told her, I said, if you send him that drink and he talks to you for the moment, then what? And that's it. Then what? You know, if he looks around this restaurant and he see you and he wants to talk to you, you don't have to do nothing. He'll make it known. And if he's intimidated or whatever the case may be, then oh well. You know, because all you doing is letting him know that you're that easy.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how I would look.
You're setting the standard. You're setting the tone already.
Right.
Yeah. Let a man be a man.
That's it.
If he gonna do it, he gonna do it. If he wants to do it, he's going to.
You can't make a man already know what they want anyway. You can't. There's nothing you can do. You can't help him want to be with you. There's nothing you can do to make that man want to be with you. There's nothing I can do to make a man like me. They have to just. Because I mean, I've seen situations where it's like, why does he even? I mean, flat out, just a woman could be in and out of jail. She could be a recovering addict, but if that man like her, want to be with her. There is nothing you can do. And me on the other end did everything to try to get you to stay. You did not want to stay with me. And it's like, then you see them go somewhere else. And it's like, what? That's because you was doing too much work and you shouldn't have been. It's not your job to make that man want you.
We just don't know how to let go.
No, we don't know how to let go.
We don't know how to let go. Because it does something to us. Like, you know, if a dude is leaving me, and I'm in general, if a dude is leaving me, I'm gonna blame myself. What's wrong with me? What I do? You know, and that's why we started doing all this other stuff to try to get and keep a man. Right. Because we looking at ourselves, we blaming ourselves, we're not loving ourselves, we're not comfortable with who we are.
And when you love yourself, you don't have to worry about that, because it's like, okay, well, if it didn't work out, then that's your loss.
Oh well, exactly.
You weren't the one.
Exactly.
You wasn't the one, and I won't lose no sleep about it. So
I mean, it might be tough, you know, if you don't be able.
It would definitely be tough.
It'll be tough. But at the end of the day, I love myself more than I love you.
Right.
So.
And once that passes, you're gonna be like, I didn't even love that person. Like, why was I even hurt over that person? Like, that was.
Yep. That's so true. So, do you have anything else that we want to add to that?
I'll just add, just because I'm thinking, you know, I think, you know, self-love starts with self. And I'm a firm believer that we should take care of ourselves, you know, and I said this in the beginning, you know, from the way we dress, we comb our hair, we take care of ourselves. You know, you see a lot of women walking around with bonnets on their head.
It bothers me.
It bothers me too.
That bothers me.
I saw it on the way here today.
That's a mess.
It bothers me, I think, even more because my child does it. And I already know what she's dealing with, though. She don't recognize it, but I know. You know, you go outside in pajamas, going to the store in pajamas, you know. And I'm saying this to say that that's a part of how you dress, how you keep your hair, is a part of how you feel about yourself.
Right.
And I understand, you know, we have bad hair days, but if you intentionally do stuff like that, you know, people looking at you and the first thing they're thinking is,
Hot mess.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. Don't, and I tell my daughter all the time, don't give people a reason to talk about you. You know, be the best version of yourself that you can be.
That's it.
You know,
For yourself.
right. You know, she had to cut all her hair off because she wasn't taking care of her hair. And she has a mini afro, but I was happy to see when I saw her the other day, she had a little mini afro going, but she had a band on there. I touched her hair, it was soft. That shows me she put in work, because before she didn't. She would just go out with her hair just tight. I'm like, what are you thinking?
Right.
You know, she'll throw on anything. You know, she won't even take time to pick out her clothes. She just pick the first thing she see. You know, spend time on yourself. Spend time on getting your hair done. If you can't pay for your hair to get done, take time with it to make it look presentable.
Yeah.
You know, take time picking your clothes out. You know, because when you go out, the first thing a person gonna see is how you're dressed. Before they get to know anything about you, they're gonna see how you dress. And unfortunately, people judge you on it.
They do.
You know, and you just take care of yourself. Whatever that means to you, take care of yourself. Put time into for yourself. You know, instead of spending your money on stuff that's not gonna, you know, do much for you, if you know you need clothes, buy yourself an outfit. And this is I'm thinking about this because it's stuff that I tell my daughter. You know, like she'll go in my closet and get shoes. No. And, you know, I'll share. I don't mind.
Right.
But the thing is, if you stop spending your money on whatever you're doing out there and spend your money on yourself, taking care of yourself, getting yourself what you need, then you won't have to come in my
You would
closet.
have shoes.
You're taking your money out there with him doing I don't know what.
Right.
You know? Instead of doing that, trying to please him, trying to give him what he wants, if that's the case, take $50 and buy you an outfit, you know, when you get paid here. Over here, buy you a pair of shoes. Just take time, put in time. The same time you put in on somebody else, put more time in for yourself.
Because she gonna regret it later.
Right, and that's for anybody. That's for anybody. Just love. It's easy to say love yourself, but what does that mean?
Right.
If you're gonna take the time to go, you know, spend time with this boy, or you know, doing more for somebody else than you're doing for yourself, then I would question if you really love yourself. If you're putting your needs off, your wants off for what somebody else wants and needs,
Right.
then I would question how much you love yourself.
Because you're just wanting them to feel a certain way about you, to fill the void that you don't have for yourself.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. That's a good point. Women need to think about that when they're stepping out, because
And even, you know, do something for yourself, like take yourself to the movies.
Exactly.
Don't expect
There's nothing
somebody else
wrong
to
with
do it. Take yourself, even if you have to walk up here to IHOP and treat yourself to dinner
There
or
is
whatever,
nothing wrong
do
with
that. Don't depend on somebody
date
else to
yourself.
do it.
Enjoy
Date
yourself. Because when
Then you'll learn how to love yourself.
Exactly.
when you date yourself and you're by yourself, then you spending more time with God for one, and you can learn a lot about yourself.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's a good point. But I'm gonna go back to that dress thing, because I'm telling you that when I see women
How to dress.
that my heart, I'm like, why the bonnets, the house shoes, the feet crusty. Ladies, let's lotion our feet, let's lotion our body,
Our face.
listen, we don't need to be ashy, we shouldn't have crust coming out the eye. I mean, this is the stuff that you see.
It happens.
I mean, this is it's like, what are you thinking? That's so love yourself enough to do that. Love yourself to eat right.
Yes.
Love yourself not to want to purposely give yourself diabetes, because diabetes is one of those diseases, because my grandma had it, like if my family have it, you give it to yourself 9 times out of 10 by what you're eating. So that's why when a doctor asked me what's running my bloodline, I said, well, my grandma died of diabetes, but that was her decision. That was not a hereditary thing to just say, oh, your mama had diabetes. No, it's what she ate and what she drank that contributed to the disease of diabetes, because all this is an imbalance with your sugar and the stuff that you eat. So love yourself to know that we only have one body and one temple, and so once your legs and stuff start getting caught, you don't get no more legs,
Right.
because you don't get, Once your teeth start falling out, I mean, you can go get some false teeth, but they not gonna supernaturally
cheap.
grow back. You're not gonna wake up in the morning like, God gave me a new set of teeth. It's like, no.
And it's not cheap. So if
No,
you
it
don't
ain't
have
cheap.
insurance, if you don't have good insurance, can't pay for it financially, you're just gonna be walking around with no teeth.
And then my mom has false teeth in her mouth from not taking her mouth teeth when she was a little girl. And although they look natural, they not fun. Because you have to still take care of them, pull them out. And then the thing about it is you still got, when you put them at night, your face looks completely different when you pull them out. So it's like, don't even go that route. Just, floss. Just think of things that you need to do for yourself.
Exactly.
And your body.
Exactly.
And your hygiene. Shave your legs. Like, this is stuff that I can't believe some women just don't know to do.
Well, you can't tell everybody to shave their legs because some people just don't believe it. I
they
think
true.
you should.
They some of them don't, but I have seen women look like bears.
Yeah.
Like they want to hibernate. Like it's like you want to growl. Like that's just too much of a. Come on now. I can see if it was laying straight to the side. It had a little perm to it, but curly bushes and just. We just gotta be now. If that's
and I say that because the way some were brought up, they just didn't do that.
I know in some countries they don't even wear deodorant, and I get that. I don't even wear deodorant. I wear baking soda and water, but it doesn't keep. I don't get musty though. But she said, "Huh?" I don't get musty though.
And I say that because I have a friend who she always get boils under her arm, and I guess I don't know what it's from actually, but from what she was saying, the deodorants and the sweat or whatever. So it got to a point where she couldn't even shave under her arm. But even then, she was still getting the boils under her arm. So I think that's when they determined it could have been the deodorant or whatever. So she had to have surgery and they had to pull a layer of skin over to kind of cover her. So now the hair doesn't even grow there anymore. So anyway, it just makes, when you say you don't use deodorant, it just took me back to her situation.
Yeah. Because the stuff that's in a lot of deodorant, it's not good for you, and I think it's too close to the breast. With what you can get through the breast, so I just use baking soda and water. I make a little paste and then just put that on.
We'll talk offline.
Okay. Okay. So, anybody? So I guess that was good.
Anything else? No.
Okay. So,
well, in closing, we just stress self-love. If you doubting, sometimes we don't even recognize it, but if you notice something in what you're dealing with, so if you're in a relationship or if you notice not, okay, well, I don't comb my hair every day, or I don't, do this or do that, or brush my teeth and wash my, whatever the case is, if you realize that, if you recognize that, I would just strongly suggest that you get with somebody who you trust, somebody who may be a little bit more mature. That doesn't mean older, just a little bit more mature, who can, kind of be your support and help you get to the point to where you truly love yourself.
Yeah.
And as always, if you guys have any questions, if you need any support from any one of the ladies of Push Podcast, you can email us at pushpodcast@gmail.com, and that's pushpodcast@gmail.com. And until next week, we'll be signing off.
Bye.